Hey y'all, welcome back to the Totally Obsessed podcast. I'm Johnny Werth, aka Thermal Jesus, and this week we're talking out-of-state hunters. Now, I myself am an out-of-state hunter, so I'm not going to say too many bad things, but I am going to keep it real. First and foremost, I hunt Oklahoma. It's where I live. It's where I have lived and hunted for the last 20 years, but I also travel out of state to Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri. I'd like to check out Texas this year, maybe head up to the Dakotas. Who knows where I'll end up. But there is a problem with out-of-state hunters, and we need to address it. First and foremost, it feels like an invasion. You show up to your local WMA or but public hunting area, and it's like a used car parking lot with license plates from every state you could think of, and maybe one or two of your in-state plates. Now, is this fair? Yes and no. We're all paying for licenses, we're all entitled to use these lands, but at the same time, we do find that sometimes these out-of-state folks think they own the place just because they showed up and they're on vacation and it's the only time they have to hunt. Now, does that mean you're going to have to work harder and walk farther or drive further back into the marsh to find birds or go to a different part of the county that nobody really ever hunts in because they haven't taken the time to drive the extra hour? Yeah. Does it suck? Sure does. But is that part of the process? Yep, it is. Because whether it's business, relationships, hunting, whatever, whoever works the hardest is going to have the best results. Now, when we talk about the invasion of out-of-staters, look at it this way. They're taking time off of work, traveling to wherever the heck they're going, and they're spending a couple days scouting and then hunting hard for a few days, and then they're gone. Unless we're talking about, for example, eastern Oklahoma, where you've got folks coming from Missouri, Arkansas, and Texas every single week, where I understand where that could be frustrating. Now, Oklahoma hasn't quite taken the steps to do it yet, but places like Arkansas and North Dakota limit the number of days an out-of-stater can hunt in a season. Places like South Dakota have made it a lottery to where if your number doesn't get pulled, guess what? You're not hunting South Dakota as an out-of-stater this year. Is it fair? Maybe. But does it work to reduce pressure? I think so. Now, with the public marshes becoming a first come, first squat kind of situation, or you're just tired of bumping into every Tom, Dick, and Harry from every other state besides your own, maybe you think, hey, let's go hunt private land. Well, there's problems with that too, because guess what? Out-of-staters have money. Out-of-staters have time. They're also going to lease private land. They're also going to pay the farmers to day hunt, which leaves less land for the rest of us to hunt. But, again, if you're willing to drive a little bit farther to places where people don't normally go look for birds and you're able to find them and get on them, you're going to have more success than trying to stick close to the metro areas or close to where we know there's a high concentration of birds, outfitters, and hunters. Now, used to be back in the day, you could drive around, you find birds in the field, you bust out the plat book you got from the county seat, you figured out who the farmer was, you looked him up in the yellow pages, and either you called him or you went and knocked on the door. Those days are gone because we have these little things that have Onyx, Hunt Stand, whatever, and have every plat book for every county in the states that you've paid for available at the tips of your fingers, and you can get on the old Google and look up the farmer's phone number or their address and go figure out if you can hunt or not. Again, rewinding the clock, used to be a door knock and the farmers tell you shoot every last one of them and not think twice about it. But here in the last 20 years, outfitters, groups of guys that have cash or whatever, are offering these farmers big dollars in order to be able to hunt these fields, whether that's 50 to 150 bucks a gun a day or just a flat rate 500 bucks for a field, pricing out a lot of the locals or just your average out-of-stater that doesn't have the money to spend on all these fields because they spend all their money to actually get here to the state that they're not from to hunt. What can we do about that? Not a whole lot. But you could get a group of guys together, or girls, whatever, and pool your money together so when you do knock on Farmer John's door and he says, yeah, it's 500 bucks for the day, you're not sitting there kicking the dirt going, well, shucks, I don't have that kind of money. You've got a group of people that you've gotten together that have $50, $75, $100 a piece, to where y'all can give the farmer what they want and y'all get to hunt. Now, if you're bashing farmers for making money by charging to use these fields in the wintertime, you shouldn't. It's hard being a farmer nowadays, and anywhere they can make an extra buck, they're going to, and you can't blame them. Just like if you were a business owner, you would be making every extra buck you could off of things that maybe weren't making any money in the wintertime or during the slow time for the business that you're in. Like folks that run lawn and garden businesses don't make a whole lot of money over the wintertime, so what do? They're in a state with a bunch of snow, maybe they do snow removal, or flip that around. People that own snow removal business, what do they do in the summertime? Mowing lawns, handyman work, whatever the case may be. You can't hate on farmers for wanting to make some money off of their fields when they're not making any money from what's actually in the field. All right. But what I think it honestly boils down to when it comes to the whole locals versus out-of-staters hunting debate boils down to one thing: a lack of respect. Whether that's respect for other hunters, respect for the public land, respect for the private land, or just respect in general. And that is a part of hunting that we are responsible for, that we've created, because there's this sense of like machoism, like I know more than you, I know better than you, you can't tell me anything because I already know everything. And it's especially prevalent in the younger hunters. Why that is, we can blame it on the generational stuff, we can blame it on social media, you can blame it on whatever you want. But at the end of the day, guess what? We, as a group of hunters, need to get together and do better to teach the young guys and weed out the jackasses that are making us all look bad and making this just an absolute shit show to even try to have fun in anymore. So, guess what? You want to be successful? You got to scout. You want to hunt public land around other people? Show some respect. And going back to the previous episode talking about Skybusters, you got to learn how to work birds. And if the birds aren't working, don't skyblast. Let them go by and do better scouting next time, or do better on your hide or your decoy placement. Work on your calling during the off season. Whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, we're responsible for making ourselves better. So whether you're a local hunter that never leaves your little area or even your state, or you're a wealthy business person that has all the time in the world and all the money and resources to travel all over the country, hunting every state, doing whatever, we need to do better. Now, a couple things to think about that might make your life easier. Maybe you don't have a bunch of money. Offer to help the farmer out when it comes time to harvest. Offer to fix fence if you know how. There's other things you can do besides cash to barter with these farmers to get access. Maybe you're tired of all the out-of-staters at your local favorite hotspot for hunting ducks. Well, maybe you need to change to less popular areas that probably hold just as many ducks, but you've never taken the time to scout them. Or maybe you need to start setting aside $20, $50, $100 per paycheck, if you can afford to have some cash during the regular season, to where when you do run into a situation where a farmer wants X amount of dollars per hunter, X amount of dollars per day per field, you're not sitting there kicking the dirt going, "Aw, shucks, I don't have that kind of cash." Maybe you pick up some side work. Now, if we go away from that and we talk back on ethics, when you run into some assholes in the marsh, don't feed into it. Set the example. Be the example. Because most people these days, they're not listening to what you say, they're looking at what you do. And if you're being just as big as an ass as they are, but you're sitting there, well, I'm a local, da-da-da-da-da, nobody cares. All right? Set the example, be the example, don't trash the place, pick up after yourself, whether it's public or private. Plenty of us have lost private land because the farmer given permission to multiple people in one of the groups, left their trash, their hulls, stuff scattered everywhere. and now everybody lost it. So do better. This is going to be a short one. I don't really feel like going too far in depth on everything just because I don't think it needs to be said. And there's also other times that we're going to dive into these topics in other episodes that are coming up. So I'll leave you this. If you're going to hunt out of state, don't bitch about other out of state hunters. Pure and simple. If you don't like these yahoos that are going to your favorite place, as unfair as it is, find a different place to hunt. It sucks. It's hard. Maybe it's double the drive length that you're used to. But at the end of the day, if you can get away from the crowds, maybe you don't have access to as many birds, but you're able to enjoy your hunt, I think that's a better deal for you. So with that, I'm Johnny Werth, a.k.a. Thermal Jesus, and this has been the Totally Obsessed Podcast.